First of all, calling some mistake silly is like brushing it away as if, no, I know how to do this, I'm going to get it right on the exam. But the problem is, the so called silly mistakes cut off so many points in the exam and make you get so much less than what you can get. So, let me talk to you about three strategies to help you overcome the so-called silly mistakes. Yeah. So first is immersion. Get completely immersed in what you do. Number two, checking. Check your work step by step. I'll talk about different types of checking in a minute. And number three, learn from your mistakes. Feedback. I'm going to talk about that in detail today. So number one, getting immersed in what you do. Now, when you're either studying or actually doing your exam, you want to be completely immersed in what you do, and this comes with training, but a lot of it is also intent, which I talk about so much in so many of my videos. Willpower, where you consciously want to get immersed in what you do. Now, for example, now when I'm making this video, if I start thinking about what you're going to think when I'm making this video, when you're seeing this video, then it's a losing game. I have to be completely immersed in this, knowing that I want to help you. I want you to know that I can help you. And keeping that as the intent, I go through the process of actually going through the first bit of eliminating silly errors, getting immersed in what you do in your studies and in your exam, and being totally present. And that is one way of eliminating the silly errors. Now, number two, checking. Now, there are a couple of types of checking. One bit of checking that I like is after doing one step, especially in math, because I teach mostly creative math and a little bit of SAT and a lot of artificial intelligence, but real human intelligence can be grown through practice. And one way of doing that is to avoid silly mistakes by checking your work. So after each step, check your work, especially in the math. Check your work after each step. It'll probably take 3 seconds. And if you get time, I would encourage you going through the whole question after you finish all the questions. But after each step, doing like a sanity check. Okay, is this correct? Is this correct? And even after you get the answer, sort of, does this fit into the big picture? But the main bit about checking is checking after each step. I feel that can really take a couple of seconds, take 2-3 seconds. Did I do this right? Quick. And that'll help you avoid the so-called silly errors. Yeah. And number three, I believe, is the most important to avoid these silly errors. There is, in my experience, parts of our mind that keep slipping certain times. Now, I've talked about this earlier. I'm so emphatic about the fact that these things can be changed if you recognize, if you give it awareness, if you recognize the place in your mind that your mind tends to slip when you see such numbers, when you see such questions, or when you see some words. If your mind tends to slip that place, then you want to tell your mind, okay, you tend to slip here, so you don't want to go the normal direction you would have gone. You want to avoid that pitfall and go a certain different direction. That will lead you to where you want to go. So the best way to avoid silly mistakes is threefold. Okay, immersed in your work. Number two, check what you do. Number three, learn from your mistakes. When you have a place in your mind that tends to slip, tell yourself, I would even note this down. Yeah, there are other videos I've made about feedback loop, but learning from your mistakes is also about marking your errors as so-called silly errors. And when I used to study, I used to mark it like S with a circle, that this is not conceptual. My mind tends to slip when I see this. So I want to remind myself, okay, when you see these numbers, your mind might slip. So don't let it slip on your exam and get the answer right. Yeah. All the best for your exams. Some people have told me that these videos are helpful. If it's helpful to you, please leave a comment. So it encourages me to make more of this and do more good work. Yeah. Do well on your exams.